So most international tour companies probably wouldn't make a video about the fact that they were robbed while in Rome. But we don't do things the same way other tour companies do, right?
That's right. We're telling this story because there's a lot of information, and I don't know, it's just a really rich story, so I think it's worth sharing.
Also, I think that the way we handled the situation was pretty good. We stayed safe at all times, but I think that maybe the Italians are a little bit surprised by these Americans and what we did, right?
Our tenacity, yeah, for sure. To start off, everybody's okay. We should just say that.
Yes.
Everybody's physically okay.
Right.
We are with 6 other companions. We are starting in Rome, Italy. We have a rental van. Those are the basics. We've got to go from Rome and next we go to Napoli. So we are going to squeeze in the Colosseum between leaving our hotel in Rome and going to Napoli. And so we have to put all of our stuff in the van. So we have all of our luggage, like literally just like everything in the van. We get to the Colosseum, drop off our 6 companions, and then Robin and I go to repark the van. We park it in a corridor where there is a lot of traffic. We go to the Colosseum, then we go to find a place to eat lunch afterwards. I go to the van to put some more money in the meter. So I get to the van and I realize that it's Sunday, I don't need to put a parking ticket on there. And so I was like, well, let me just drop some stuff off while I'm here. I drew a few little trinkets in my pocket, and then I put my passport in there, locked the van 50 times while I was walking away from it.
Like, really, we never would have even thought that anything was wrong with this neighborhood. It was a nice neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like and there were cars parked and there were people everywhere.
I go back to dinner and retrieve the crew. We come back 30 minutes later. I open up the van door and realize that our stuff has been gone through. So that we see one of our companions' suitcases just ripped open in the middle of it.
So Christopher is always teasing, and he had just teased me earlier and showed me a van that was dented.
30 seconds earlier.
Yes, and so then he laughed because that wasn't our van.
Yeah.
So here it is just a little bit later, and he says to me, oh my God, well, he said some words that I won't repeat. And I was like, what? And he's like, we've been robbed. And I'm like, yeah, right. Come on. Did not believe you at all.
Oh, I was mad because they got all kinds of stuff. I mean, well over $10,000 worth of stuff between all of us. My guitar that had been on like 4 continents. Like, I'm sentimental about like 3 things, and that was one of them. My tiny guitar that I'm taking everywhere. They got that, and they got 3 of the 8 passports.
Yes.
And one of which was mine.
And I lost something. So for probably the last 2 or 3 years, I've been building up what I think is the perfect medicine bag. All these over-the-counter medicines, and I always brag that I have everything, even for an ingrown toenail, in that bag. It had probably 40 medicines in it, bandages and so forth, and I was so sad it was gone.
So immediately we spring into action. We call emergency services. I start just running. I'm just running in the vicinity to find somebody carrying my guitar. And I realize that when I run all the way up, like onto the bridge, I can overlook the corridor, and I'm like 20 feet from Robin and our companions that are like looking through everything to see what is missing. And that's when Robin realizes there's air tags.
Yeah, and people give me so much crap about my air tags.
Yeah.
I have air tags in everything I own. Caressa also had an air tag, so between myself and one of the other travelers, we had 5 air tags. And at this point, we yell up at Christopher and we're like, oh, they don't know who they're dealing with. These Americans, we have air tags on everything. So
that's right. And so if you don't know what an air tag is, it's just a GPS, and it's this big. You can hide it in stuff, or you can just let it in stuff. So then they determined that they were on the move, in which case, obviously, I'm not going to find them around the area. They're in a car, in a vehicle, heading away from town. They're about 12 to 20 minutes away from that point. Mm-hmm. So I go back down there. We're still assessing. We wait for the cops to show up. The cops are waiting kind of patiently for the GPS to stop moving. so they can call in backup to go to that location, because obviously if it's moving, and the cops wouldn't take us either. They wouldn't take us like with the phone to follow the GPS.
We tried getting in the police car,
And
but they said, "Oh no,
Yeah,
you're not
that's
doing that.
unfortunate.
You will wait here."
So we had to sit on our hands for like what felt like well over an hour.
Wasting time while these people are driving around with all of our possessions, and we can see them. You know, it's so frustrating. They're getting farther away.
Yeah.
So.
And they've stolen all our cords, so like all our phones are dying.
Yeah,
And,
that's the other thing.
and
yeah.
the GPS is just murdering the phone battery. Eventually, the police tell us that we have to go file a police report and that they're going to send a patrol around there. So we have to go file a police report that's like 15 minutes away at the police station. Driving in Rome traffic, 15 minutes away. We get there. You walk up to the window and they tell you what?
They're like, "Oh, well, the boss isn't here, so you can't file a report till 7 p.m."
Which was like 3 hours
Yeah.
away.
So basically, I think they were just kind of trying to get rid of us, but we persevered. We
Because
went to the next police
We went
station.
to the next police station and waited in line with a bunch of other people that had whatever tragedy happened to them. And then we file the report. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours that it takes for us to stand in line, and they take us in 2 by 2 and file the police report. So after we file the police report, the policeman's like, "You got 3 options. Either you can just like let it go, you can I can't remember one of the options, but the third option we agreed on, which was go to where the air tags are and call the police there, and then have them meet us, and then we'll just, if it's a single edifice or something like that, then we can confront the people." So we decided to do that, and it's about 20 minutes away on the other side of Rome. We get in the van, and first we want to locate it. So if you don't know, if you've never try to locate an air tag, it will tell you when you're close. And then once you get within like 30 feet or something, it turns on precision. So then you can have like a little arrow acting as a compass of where you're going. It's like, I don't know, it's just some like virtual game. So we show up on the other side of Rome. We park outside in a handicapped spot in front of a pizza place. And then because I had a big old mustache, and I think that one of the theories is that they copied the key when I was locking it, all the times that I locked it on the way from the car, and the fact that they could have copied the key above me, not noticing.
Yes.
20 feet just above me, where the van was parked. So I just figured they were casing me. When I was putting my passport in there, I had this feeling that I don't have this paranoid feeling like ever that somebody was watching me.
You gotta trust that.
Yeah. And so I didn't trust my intuition. I was just went, "Oh, that's weird." And then I put it away. So I don't know how they got in, because there was no damage to the vehicle. No damage.
The police said it's very common, though, that the vehicles are not broken into. So that's a tip for fellow travelers. They can actually just somehow activate those little key fobs and get into the vehicles without even breaking in.
There's probably just multiple ways of doing it now. So I realized that they probably know what I look like. So I have to get into disguise. And then one of our companions, Handsome Nick, and I get on the beat, and we start going around this neighborhood, just walking around the different apartment buildings and wherever that it pings to try to find this thing. And we see these 2 guys. They look extremely suspicious, and we're still pretty certain that they at least were like protecting the people that were doing this. But
well, the great thing is, the whole time I'm thinking, they are watching. I mean, this is a small neighborhood, and we were exactly in front of the apartment building. We're very close to the apartment building where the tags were locating.
We're walking around, and Handsome Nick is keeping his distance from me, and so we can just hedge our bets. We're sneaking into all kinds of places. We're looking everywhere, and it takes about 40 minutes, I'd say, that we're just like walking around that entire neighborhood. We get the inclination to give up, and we start walking down a sidewalk, and then it pings. And then I walk from the sidewalk, and there's a guy sitting in the car, and it has tinted windows, and I was like, I couldn't see inside the car, and I was about to get in this man's car, I swear to God. And I go up to his passenger door, and then the arrow hits left on the phone. and to the left was a dumpster. I open up the dumpster, it was a recyclable dumpster, and I see my bag, and I was like, okay, got the van, and then I pulled the van over by the dumpster. We got all hands on deck, all of our phones and flashlights and all that.
6 dumpsters. There are these Americans just digging through dumpsters, and we're finding some of our stuff, not the really valuable laptop or guitar.
So Handsome Nick jumps in there, and we're holding it open for him, and we immediately find all 3 of our passports, which is phenomenal. We keep digging, and just there's some stuff of value that they just threw in there, including the medicine bag.
Yeah, I got my medicine bag back and wasn't even messed with.
And
like,
all the
nothing.
air tags were inside of the medicine bag.
All but one.
All
We'll
but
tell that
one.
part of the story later.
Right. So
but,
all but one of the air tags was inside of the medicine
they
bag.
stuck them in the medicine bag, dumped it in the dumpster along with the passports and a few other things that we found, a book.
Yeah, different
that someone
medications,
was
just
reading.
odds and ends.
Things they didn't want, basically.
Yeah. And or things they couldn't like resell to. So we spent some time there and explained to a couple of the locals what we're doing. And then
it's partly kind of a projects kind of neighborhood, not so nice, but
there's
then
no tourism
one
in this
street
neighborhood.
over, it's kind of more like a nice neighborhood. So there's like a guy walking his dog, and he just sees us, the van there, and all of us digging through the dumpster. So of course these people were curious and wanted to know what we were doing. So,
yeah, and they're just like, passports stolen, and they're like, how about that? We find our passports and some odds and ends, but they have neglected one air tag, which is in pink purse.
my purse, which was my very favorite purse, it was a Kate Spade purse that I had just gotten in Chicago, and it had a matching little pink wallet. I was very sad. But that air tag they have not found.
We see that it is a half a mile away and down the same direction that they would have been traveling to throw those in the dumpster. So everybody's like, let's go for it. You know, round 2. We park and it's dark by this point. We park in a nondescript area. Handsome Nick and I go do the same thing, and there's this one building. It's got 8 apartments on top, and then it's got a grocer and then like a cafe on the bottom. We look everywhere, and it says it's pinging in that apartment building. It's definitely in there. Then I can't find it. We're walking all around it, and it's not picking up. I was like, wait, I gotta ask people just straight up. So I went to ask all the business owners, have you seen this guitar? I had pictures of everything. Have you seen this luggage case? Have you seen all that? Nobody's seen anything. And then we decide that, let's call the cops and let's get in this apartment building, and because it's here. So the cops show up about 15 minutes later. Me and 4 armed policemen raid this apartment building. I'm going around, and I've got AirPods on one, and then I've got the AirTag on the other, and we're walking around silently. They got their guns. We're walking around silently and holding to each door these the phones, trying to get it to connect to one of those AirTags. And so far, I've not played any of the sound because you can hit the sound when you're close enough. And so on the top floor, where the top 2 apartments were, where all the lights were on as well, I hit that sound and it went beep. And then, both of them just all 3 of us were just like, right there, And then but it only beeped once. Yeah. And I couldn't get it to beep again because it goes beep, beep.
There's not a really rewarding part to this, except that
except that it just
it
gave
we
us
know
hope
where it is. And we've been watching it ever
since.
since. My purse is still there, and they've not found the AirTag somehow. So we've been still watching it, and maybe there's hope to get my purse back someday.
And when next time we'll come back next time. Yeah, so unfortunately that last beep is like the end of the story. It was just a shame.
Well, the funny thing is, another van story, because we're sitting in the van while this is all happening, and while we're sitting in the van, we watch 2 guys try to break into a car right in front of us. I can't believe our eyes. I'm like, is this really happening? So...
But again, we were just like at a very like dark barrio, it was where we parked initially. it's like I don't even know. It's just
touristy, nice, you know.
right by the Coliseum.
Yeah.
It's a shame. You know, I still think it's a safer bet to keep things in your hotel room, because even on your person, you might lose them or get pickpocketed or who knows, wherever around the world. We did what I feel like was the safe thing to do. It's just like if somebody wants something these days, they want to get it. Just,
Right.
You know.
Right. And we didn't actually confront them or do anything dangerous. We kept the police involved. I do think we did the right thing. Although if we would have just dropped it and not at least gone there, nothing would have happened. We wouldn't have gotten our passports back. We'd probably have our trip delayed. People would have lost even more.
Yes.
Before we finish up here, I think that we learned a few things from this. And as Christopher mentioned earlier, even though it seems like a safe neighborhood, do not leave your possessions in your vehicle. They're much safer in your hotel room, or some hotels abroad have guards in the parking lot. So like I said, we never thought about it. We never thought that was an unsafe place. We never really, I don't think it entered our mind that we'd get robbed.
A
little naive, considering that we are super well traveled. Have traveled all over the world and dealt with things, and your possession, no joke. Keep your possessions safe. And the other thing is the air tags. Can't really emphasize how important those are.
And I think you should hide the air tags too.
Yeah, hide them even better than we did. I mean, the one in my purse is pretty good, but the others they found, you know. We would not have our passports back today if it weren't for air tags. Make sure you do always call the police, involve the police. Even if you are skeptical that the police are going to be helpful. Because now that we've been investigating ways to make insurance claims, which we do have some, the biggest requirement is a police report. So you have to have that police report.
And we watched those people get further and further away, but we knew that the most important thing was the police report.
Right.
Like we could have just chased them down, but we had to get that police report. So.
Yeah. And the other thing is protect yourself with as much insurance as possible, because you know, we hesitated to buy the super policy when we rented the vehicle, but turns out that policy might end up helping us some. We also require all of our travelers to have international travel insurance, and that is also another way we may be able to retrieve our belongings.
And the thing I'll say on a more supernatural note, if you got to listen to your intuition when you're traveling. I ignored it. I don't often ignore it, but I just thought that was a kind of crazy thought. It was like nobody's watching me. I looked around. I just didn't look up. You know, trust your intuition, because you know, our brain's making immense calculations every moment. And then when you're tuned into that, when you're traveling, it can make all the difference.
Yeah, good. That's probably the most important thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pay attention to your spidey sense.
But we're here. We got insurance. We got our passports.
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
All right.